a summary by telling people what your career objectives are. So I have interests. So I'm hoping to work in an organization that would help me boost my growth. Nah, no, don't do that. Everything, you have to be, the CV is the one place that you're allowed to be narcissistic. You have to obsess over yourself. Forget the recruiter, forget the other person. Talk about yourself. Describe, what you can do, what you have done, what you intend to do. That's what is supposed to be on your CV and your cover letter. Is a place where you're allowed to be narcissistic for once, in life. And after your summary, because, like I said, this is for medics. So I don't know, other people, I wouldn't give you this format. I typically write CVs by industry. So I know how different recruiters look at different CVs. And unfortunately, I may not be able to break it down for every single person today. So please just take this, adapt and tweak where necessary. But I'm just saying that this particular CV flow, I made it specifically for medics. So highlight your education history. This is because you work in a specialized field. You have your MBBS, you have written the MDCN exams, you have passed, write all those things. If you won any school awards, you should also highlight it in bullet points, just under your degree. Say, maybe, I don't know, medics don't have best graduating student things or things like that. But if you had any, maybe, top of your class type of things, you should put it there, or maybe a distinction, whatever, just put it there. Outline your work experience. Sorry, back to education history. Your education history primarily should be your university degree. Your secondary school degree doesn't really count because obviously you had to write WASI to get into university, and nobody is really hiring you based on whether or not you passed biology in secondary school. They're hiring you based on the fact that you're a doctor, so you have a medical degree, and then the medical society actually, acknowledges you as a doctor. So that's what is necessary on your CV. It's important to save space. Outline your work experience. If you do not have work experience, that's fine. You can try and make your education history more robust. So maybe the courses that you took that you had more interest in, that maybe you did really good at, you can outline them, modules that you took in school. I took this particular course. Just let people understand where your mind is at and where your head is at. For those who have work experience, how it goes is the company, so maybe name of hospital, name of school, name of wherever it is you worked, the job title, and then the duration. The duration is month and year. So maybe you started in June 2019, put June 2019. If you're still working there, June 2019 to date, or June 2019 to present. If you have left, June 2019 to the month and the year that, you left. And then you have to put it in ascending order. Yes. So start from the most recent. Yes. Start from the most recent and trickle down to the oldest. So don't put your experience from 5 years ago on top, because I'm looking at the most recent, the last thing you have done. And just consider that your recruiter has maybe 2 minutes at best to look at your CV. So if you're plugging it with information that they really do not need to see, you're doing yourself a disservice. Put it in that order and then outline the things that you did. As a medic, your job is probably very much the same thing everywhere. So it's actually okay to repeat, your duties, just populate your CV. And maybe if you did something extra remarkable or you won specific, awards, or you got recognized at the workplace, you should just highlight those. But also your job duties or whatever it is, your achievements at work, maybe not more than 5 lines typically, because I generally believe that there isn't that much for anybody to say. And even though I have said that it's okay to be narcissistic, you need to put yourself in check. So don't go saying too much. Nobody is really reading 100 things. Put the most important ones on top. If you know that, the others are they're very operational. It's things that maybe usually every doctor does. It's not things, but they don't go on and on and on and try to create 10 bullet points. If you only have 3 to 4, it's fine. You're a doctor, so it's fine. List your areas of expertise. Areas of expertise, they count as skill. And I do like to compartmentalize. So I like to classify expertise or skills, by vertical. So let's say you're a doctor, you have industry competency in patient counseling, in whatever it is, all your medicals, your different medical skills, those are industry competencies. It's things that a typical recruiter would expect you to have. Now you can go further and then break it down and say languages. So the languages you speak, they're also very important, because for all you know, maybe you are bilingual or you're multilingual. You can speak 4 languages. It's very important for you to outline that you can speak 4 languages, because maybe you're Yoruba, you speak Igbo, you speak Hausa, and maybe you speak Bini. And you won't take a job somewhere. The fact that you can speak a language outside of your own, and maybe you live in the north and you can speak Hausa, is very important, because maybe your name is Adebayo and then you speak Hausa. It's a plus for you. So you need to highlight that, these are the languages I speak. And if it's just your mother tongue and English, you should also highlight that. At least let people know that you understand another language beyond English. That's the areas of expertise. Then volunteer experience and publications. Was it Anita that says she's a writer? Every single thing that you have published that is relevant to medicine or whatever job you're looking for, it has to be on your CV. Put the topic and then hyperlink it. So when you put it, you right click, you see hyperlink, you insert a link so that it appears as a link. When you convert to PDF, they can still tap on it as a link. So it redirects them to whatever website you publish the article on. And then you can just do that. Let people be able to see how much work you have done. Stop expecting that when you get to the interview, you will tell them. It doesn't work like that. Your CV is what speaks for you when you're not in the room. It's what says this person is qualified, this person is competent, this person deserves, this person deserves a shot. That's what your CV is. So while you're summarizing, please put all the important information on your CV, your volunteer experience to make it relevant. So by relevance, I mean, if maybe you did something with your church, or maybe it was a medical outreach, then that's fine. But if you did something with your church and it was evangelism, where you were only preaching, then it's not okay to put on your CV, because it's not relevant. It doesn't mean anything to me as a recruiter that you went to preach. It's fine because that's your personal belief, but it doesn't mean anything to me. It really just doesn't mean anything to me or to the place that I'm trying to hire for. So your volunteer experience has to be relevant, on your CV. If you did things like maybe give out food to the less privileged, you can put that on your CV, because it does there's some compassion there, and there's typically some, emotional angle that you can leverage, there. And people say, oh, this was such a nice person, blah, blah, blah. But if it is not anything of that sort, if it's really just something that ties to a personal belief or personal values, then maybe you should just leave them out. Moving to LinkedIn. I don't know that a lot of doctors have LinkedIn, even though many Nigerians actually are users of LinkedIn. We are not very active, but there are a lot of opportunities on LinkedIn, funny enough. People are always going there to look for recruits. Start by filling in all the blanks. So every single space that LinkedIn tells you to fill is important. It knows why it's telling you to do that. There are algorithms, at the back end that tell you that, put you in front of whoever is searching for you. So when somebody searches medical doctor and is sorting by location, Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Ibadan, this, that is why it's important for you to state where you are currently working, because when people are searching, they are using filters, and LinkedIn needs to be able to push you based on the information that you have shared. So if you say that you work in, let's say, Reddington Hospital, for example, and you don't say that it's in Lagos, LinkedIn cannot push you to the front of the line when somebody is filtering by, hospital, medical doctors, Lagos, and trickling it down to Lekki. It's not going to pick you out because you did not put it there. But if you did put it there, then LinkedIn is going to push you to the forefront. Like, oh, okay, this is one person that works, in Reddington in Lekki, and then you're at the front of the line. That's the point. So you have to fill in all the blanks until you see all-star. When you have an all-star status, it means that every single important category on your LinkedIn has been filled in. Then engage in conversations and create some. People typically make jokes and try to troll LinkedIn users for talking a lot about themselves. On LinkedIn, everybody's just forming, it's too uptight, it's suit and tie, everybody just acts like they are winning in life, blah, blah, blah. It's very important to do those things. All those, sideways pose pictures, the think pieces, the opinions, the engaging questions are very important because people see what you're doing. For example, if I'm looking for HR content, I know Bridget Hyacinth, and I know a number of others, right, that I follow on LinkedIn because I like their thoughts. And if they were not writing about, things that they do, things that they have done, things that they intend to do, and their idea, their opinions, their ideas, their experiences, and everything, I honestly just will know them, and I would not learn anything from them. And as it is, Bridget Hyacinth has gone ahead, to write a book. She does public speaking. She has all kinds of appearances. It's very important to do those things because at the end of the day, you want somebody to see you, take you seriously, and hire you. So start writing, start talking to people. When somebody shares a win, write congratulations in the comment box. For example, someone on my LinkedIn recently won an award, rather. And I was like, oh, congratulations. She does brow pencils, and I like her brow pencils. Oddly, I actually am connected with her on LinkedIn. I didn't even know she was the one. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, well done, congratulations. I use your brow pencils and they're really nice. And we had a very small conversation, but there was obviously nothing for me to push. But just in case I ever have something, she would at least know that, oh, okay, this was that lady that said she liked my brow pencils, And then usually from there, from simple compliments, from sharing ideas, people connect. That's how networking works. Networking isn't by graveling. It's not by, please, sir, help me. It's by, oh, this is my idea. What do you, this is what I think. Oh, no, this is what I think. Then you go back and forth. And before you know it, you're having an actual conversation. It's not the same thing as, please help me find a job. Then the person is only being, extra nice if they're not condescending to you. They're like, because usually when you gravel, you give people room to be mean to you or to be, condescending to you because clearly you are sort of at their mercy. If I make a call, then I can brag and say that, oh, I was on, I got this person a job. It's different from exchanging ideas, different from trading value. So try and trade value by creating conversations and engaging in them. Seek out and offer skill endorsements. So it's not enough to say you can do it. You need somebody else to say, oh, I agree that, Anita can, perform surgery, or Anita is great at, writing, or blah, blah, blah. So get your colleagues, preferably senior colleagues, anyone you've worked with, to endorse you on LinkedIn. Also endorse them on LinkedIn. it boosts your profile. And then share your profile on other platforms. Put on your Twitter bio, put on your Instagram bio, put it on Facebook. You know, from time to time, if you write something, share it on other platforms. Even if it's only one person that sees it, somebody has seen it. The day you write something really marvelous, it's going to catch buzz and it's not going to be out of nowhere. So continue to share your profile on other platforms. Now, your to-do after school. Sorry, I need to keep moving. Let's minimize this. Okay, so your to-do after school. Sorry. My personal theory is that there are 3 stages of your career after school. And those are research, adoption, and specialization. Again, personal theory. So please don't go and try and search online for these stages. You probably not see it. This is just up in my head. With research, you start by understanding everything that is available to you, all the ideas, the options that are available within and outside of your field of study. So is it business you want to do? Do you want to practice medicine? Do you want to branch out? You outline all those things and start, reading up about them and how to start, how to go about it, where to begin. The skills you need to learn, the skills you need to acquire, what you need to leverage. Do you need to connect with somebody that works in Reddington to be able to work in, you understand, things like that. So you do some research, then you weigh your options. When you're weighing your options, you have to consider 3 things: your earnings, your career trajectory, and the requirements for growth. So I'll say, for me as a marketer, when I decided that I wanted to work in marketing, which may come to you as a surprise that I'm not HR. When I decided that I wanted to work in marketing, I weighed my the earning potential and exactly how far I can go as a marketing manager. I can actually go as far as CMO, COO, there's Chief Marketing Officer, Chief Operations Officer, Chief Revenue Officer, things just very high up. And if I play my cards right, I can go as high up as CEO somewhere. I'm not really interested in that, which I don't know. I'm not very interested in that, but in marketing, I know exactly how high up I can go. Maybe I wouldn't get there, but at least there is a path, right? So that I can get to that level if I want and if I put in the work. And then requirements for growth. I know that the amount of money I am going to spend training myself to upgrade is worth it. It's something that I can afford on my salary. So I heard someone say he wants to work in HR. You need to weigh your options. You need to consider your earnings. If you work in a recruitment agency, at the start, human resource management, it doesn't pay a lot of money. Funny enough, you're probably not aware, as technical as it is, unless maybe you're lucky. I'll call it luck. You're lucky and you work in like maybe a bank, an investment bank, a multinational, an FMCG, places like that, then yeah. But if you're going to start, from recruitment agencies and, small businesses, don't expect your earnings to be so robust. They don't earn CEO salary at the start, and their certifications are not cheap. They are quite expensive, but the moment you're able to upgrade yourself and you're able to, get those certifications, then your earnings start to increase. So you have to consider earnings, your career trajectory, exactly how far can you go, and compare it to what you want for yourself in life. So do you want to be a specialist, a medical specialist? You pick a field, which one? My friend wants to do psychiatry, and she knows exactly where her career can stop. She knows what kind of practice she wants to engage in, things like that. You need to understand your trajectory and then your requirements for growth. Do you need to write the PLAB exams so that you can go abroad and work? And then if you need to even move abroad, where do you want to go? Do you want to work in the UK? Do you want to work in Canada? Do you want to go to Australia? Are you going to Ghana? Are you going to US? Are you going to Ireland? You know, just decide where it is, or maybe France, Germany, anywhere. Where do you want to go? What do you need to go there? How much would you earn? You know, how far up can you go? That's research. Adoption. After you've racked your brain, then you can choose a path and say, okay, you know what? I have settled on wellness and nutrition, and that is what I'm going to be, a nutrition and wellness coach. And then you start identifying all the resources that you need to excel. Okay, I know that I need to take this particular exam, or I need to build this kind of business, or I need to interact with this level of people, you know, to be able to win. And then you do that. Then you start your journey by looking for and taking new opportunities. When you have figured out what you want, how you can get it, then you start looking for it. So you know you want to work in psychiatry, and find a psychiatric hospital, you know, to start your practice in, and then you start working there. Maybe you take an exam, move to the UK, and start working, you know, in psychiatric medicine. You look out for the opportunities, you take them. Basically, I'm saying you start applying for jobs. That's adoption. And then specialization. That is where you explore career advancement opportunities. Remember that during research stage, you already figured out what it is you need. And then in adoption stage, you decided just how much, I'm sorry, give me, sorry. Okay. You need to, sorry, hold on. You need to. Okay, so specialize, sorry, I live with people, so interruption. Explore career advancement opportunities. Like I was saying, at research stage, you figured out what those advancement opportunities are. And then at adoption stage, you figure out the resources that you need to get them. And then after that, now, when it's time to actually, you know, focus on career advancement, you start exploring, you know, the opportunities, maybe weighing which exam is better. This is where you decide which country is best. So is it, you already, you know, do psychiatric medicine, for example. So are you better off working in the UK? Are you better off working in the US? Is practice in that field better in Canada? That's what I mean by exploring. So which one should I choose? You can afford to move, but you need to know where you want to go. Then you enroll in a program, an advanced degree, a certification. Fellowships are very important too. So, you know, all kinds of medical fellowships, advanced degrees, any certifications that you need to get. And then you can now specialize, because the thing is, there are people who say, I once spoke with someone who said he works in project management and he doesn't even think that he needs to get PMP, that's a project management professional certificate, because I mean, he's been doing it for 10 years, yada, yada, yada. And my point is this: for people to actually acknowledge or agree that you can do something, you need to show proof. And because your CV is, you know, it's what, like I said, what speaks for you when you're not in the room. If you don't have certain certificates that validate your experience or validate knowledge, then you're wasting your time. Because maybe I can enroll in school, right? Study medicine, go through all 6 years. If I don't have a certificate, nobody is going to believe me when I say, I know how to do it, or I have knowledge of general medicine. Nobody is going to believe me. People are going to say, okay, so where's your medical degree? Where's your certificate? I'm like, well, I didn't collect one. Okay, anybody can say that. So it's the same thing as getting certificates, or advancing, or doing advanced degrees, or enrolling in fellowships. Those papers, those certificates, those stamps, their validation, they say that yes, this person is better than the other candidates. That's what they are for. So even no matter how self-taught you are, no matter how much personal research you do, you still need to enroll in all of these things, because you need the validation. The knowledge is also very important, because you may undermine, you may undermine all the things that you learn in these places, of which when I enrolled in CIM, I thought I knew marketing. I could have sworn that I knew it back to back. When I enrolled in marketing, I actually quite struggled, because there was some information I'm like, what is this even about? But that's how it is. You think you know everything, you think you know a lot, until you try to learn more, then you realize that, oh, okay, I don't know as much as I was exaggerating, and I was overrating myself. So you need to bring one, it humbles you, because then you realize that you don't know as much as you think you know. And then it validates the things you actually know. It validates the fact that, okay, you know what, this person studied, this person passed, this person can do the work. And then when you show it to a recruiter, that's all they need to see. A credible institution said you can do it, so it's fine. So if you went to medical school in University of Ilorin, University of Ibadan, University, any federal school or government-owned school, they actually take you more seriously than if you enrolled in. There are also private schools where maybe a Babcock or an Affair or those kinds of schools where they say, oh, okay, medical degrees from these schools are actually really good. But there are others where they are struggling. You notice that there are schools struggling with accreditation, for example. Is because even if their lecturers know exactly what they are saying, NUC or MDCN has said, you know what, we don't trust that the people from this school, that their degrees are going to be good enough for practice. So no. So it's very important that you're going to specialize and consider advancement opportunities. I think I have spoken for longer than I said I would. Sorry. Okay, so creating a presence. When it comes, I keep referring to personal and professional branding. You see the same way, for example, I don't know if you can still see my screen. This is green tea, right? It says Lloyd, it's branded. If I see this box anywhere, I'm going to attribute it to this tea. It's the same way you have Bama. If you see anything shaped like this and packed like this, the first thing you expect to see on it is Bama, right? So if you see another brand's name on it, you'll be like, oh, they are copying. That's exactly how branding is. It is what people think of you when they interact with you offline and online. When they hear your name, is the first thing that they think that comes to mind. When you hear Blue Band, the first thing that comes to mind is butter. When you hear Lipton, the first thing that comes to mind is tea. That's just what it is. And when people want to buy any kind of condiment, they say, give me Maggi, because Maggi has branded itself as, as that. It is obviously a condiment, but it has branded itself as, the household name, the way you describe condiment. It's the same way people describe noodles as Indomie, because they have branded themselves as, when you want to say noodles, just say Indomie. So when people want to say, what do you want people to think when they mention your name? What do you want when they mention it? So if somebody says on Twitter, I need to write a CV, people tag me and say, oh, speak to Funke. Oh, I need to hire somebody. Oh, please speak to Funke. Oh, please, I need a job. Oh, please speak to Funke. It's because that is how I have branded myself online. That is what I want you to think when you hear my name anywhere. Oh, okay, that's CV lady. Yes, it's fine. I'm actually great. I'm fine with it. Even though I do other things outside of CV writing and outside of Cvloft, I do want you to think of Cvloft first when you hear my name. Or when you see Cvloft, I want you to remember me. That's what it is. So you start by considering it. So consider yourself a product. Consider yourself Blue Band, you know, or consider yourself butter and then brand yourself like Blue Band. Exactly, that's what it is. So start by creating an identity. It define, like I already said, defines what people think of you when they interact with you online and offline. Typically, when people talk to me, when people interact with me, people's expectation from me when they are talking to me is career development tips, career development advice. It's so bad that even my friends would contact me and say, okay, I want to ask you something. So if I want to write a cover letter for this position, how do I start? It's because when they think of writing CVs and cover letters, the first person that comes to mind is me. That is what it means to create an identity for yourself. It's very important. 2, you need to write offering. You have a specialized degree. Unlike those of us who just, I mean, I studied very cool, I have a very cool degree, but at the end of the day, I'm not a specialist or anything. I'm just, I have a nice degree and it's fine. And I can do different things. But when you have a specialized degree, when you have, a degree in a specialized field like medicine, everybody wants to know what you think. Me, I studied economics and sociology. People probably don't care what I think, but they want to know what a lawyer thinks or a doctor or an accountant, because, every other person has to go back to school to learn the things that For me to be a doctor now, I'll probably have to start from SS1 and start my biology and chemistry from that far back, because before I can study medicine, because I didn't even do it in secondary school. So you need to write often, you need to speak. Like, I think somebody like, that would be Anita, is already on a great path. You should write, you should have opinions. If you go on Twitter, you see Dr. Olufumilayo and Apropos Doctor and Dr. Zobo and the likes of them. They have opinions, people follow them because, the other day Dr. Olufumilayo explained, the harm in shaving, on the day, and everybody's like, oh, okay, so that's a thing. I don't know. People don't know anything. I don't know anything. When it comes to medicine, I don't know anything. You probably, know a lot more, obviously, than I do. And you're not telling anybody the things you know. In fact, somebody else might be misyanning or saying the wrong things online, and you're not tackling them, you're just going, why are you saying, why can't you have an opinion? Why can't you say, no, this is wrong, actually this? Tackle them, have opinions, argue, go back and forth. It's very important for your personal branding. You should write, you should say the things that you know. You should tell people that, you know what, I went to school, I have a medical degree, and I know stuff, so I'm going to write. If you're a pharmacist, you should write, about self-medicating. You should write about drug administration. You should write about overdosing. You should just write. Tell people that, you know what, sometimes when you have a headache, drink water. It's okay to not, constantly swallow pain medication. And this is why. You're a pharmacist. It's very important for you to say these things because people just don't know. People think that they're supposed to just buy drugs, use drugs, whatever. Tell people that, a pharmacist, our job is not to diagnose. So please, if you're sick, go to the hospital. The doctor tells you what to buy, and then we administer drugs to you. Dispense drugs to you. So it's very important that you say these things. You just write. There's so much knowledge everywhere that it can never be enough. In fact, you can repeat the same thing and say it 100 different ways, and it would still make sense every time. So, and maybe even shock me every time, shock people every time. Like, oh, okay, I didn't know. One person cannot cover the entire earth, right? There's no way I'm going to have opinions about career that everybody in the world is going to know my name. It's almost impossible. If you check, there are people who still, Donald Trump, but there are people on this earth, in this Nigeria, maybe on your street, who don't know who he is. Because what's their own? It doesn't concern them. So that's the thing. There are things that people around you don't know. You think that they know, or you think that it's not important, but it is. So you should start talking, because every single opinion that you have is knowledge, is new knowledge for someone. So write. You should write often. Write on Medium, write on Substack, write on LinkedIn, create a Disha blog. Just write. Write. And then connect to professionals. So leverage social media. Again, when you create an identity for yourself, please use myself as an example. Before 2017, I don't think people really took me seriously. I was opinionated, yes, but I had a very small following, maybe 900 followers thereabout, and it was less than 1,000. And then, I started to create myself an identity for myself in 2017, actually. People that on a normal day would never have looked at my side, because which would have been fair, because honestly, they had nothing to say to me or no conversations to have with me. Now I can reach out to them and say, oh, are you interested in collaborating on XYZ? If I did not create an identity for myself, if I didn't write often, Olakumi wouldn't have reached out to me and said, are you willing to, host this session with doctors? It's because I created an identity. It's because I'm always talking. I'm always having opinions. I'm always saying something. I'm always sharing one tip or the other. It's not because I know everything. Sometimes I read something new, or I watch a movie and I make sense of it, and then I tweet something. I'm like, oh, okay. It looks like, you appear all-knowing. People start looking at you like you're a genius. That's not the case most of the time. You know things, so say that you know things. Connect to professionals. When they see, the kind of brand that you're creating for yourself, they know that you're the kind of person they want to interact with. They want to connect with you online and offline. It also helps you create conversation. So when I go out and somebody says, oh, hi, what do you do? I'll be like, oh, I own a company, a small company. It's called Cvloft. They're like, oh, okay, that's great. What do you do? Blah, 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 blah. And before you know it, we are talking. We may never talk about work or money, but we exchange contacts. And then at some point, somebody says, oh, you know what? One of my friends, he says he wants to write a CV. You said you do that, right? What's that your website again? And then before you know it, I have yet another customer who would recommend me to another person. And then I'm creating a snowball effect for myself. So that's what it means to connect. Don't ever connect with anybody. Don't ever try to connect to anybody without offering value. If you don't have anything to say to a person, if you don't have any kind of value to offer to a person, they don't consider it networking. They consider it graveling. You're begging them for opportunity. But if somebody like me, as I am currently, I don't aspire to meet Dangote. But if I have, a win like Paystack, and then I get an exit, and I can sell my company, a part of my company for $200 million, yeah, I'm down with meeting Dangote, because now we have something to talk about. As I am now, how much to talk about with Dangote? I'm not interested in dinner with Jay-Z. I'm not on that level, because there's honestly just nothing to talk about. The only kind of value you can give this person is, please, sir, please, ma. And that doesn't make any sense to them. But when you say, oh, I created this particular product and it did XYZ, I created this platform and it translated to money this way, then they want to hear what you have to say. So that's why I have created this this flow for you. Is outlined in a particular flow. So you have to start by creating an identity, right? Often connect to professionals, keep a CV handy. Now, this is back to the point. Like I said, when you're networking with people, you need to trade value. So you finish talking to someone and you say, oh, I'm creating, Olakumi can create conversation for herself and I say, oh, you know what, I have this small, platform called Doctors Without Stats, and it's supposed to help people in the medical practice, people in medical school, to be able to figure out what they want to do with their career. She has a CV handy. So it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So what else do you do outside that? And she's like, oh, you know what? I'm a medical doctor, blah, 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 blah. I'm actually looking to change jobs. Maybe the hospital where I work is quite far from home. So, I've been looking out for like new opportunities. And now, send me your CV. The reason they're asking is because they know Olakunmi has value to offer. Maybe not directly to them, but to somebody else. And they know that now Olakunmi has a network of doctors that she can refer anywhere, that she can always reach out to. Somehow, that community counts, is value. So now she has to keep a CV handy. So when somebody says, oh, you're interested in a job, I have one colleague. He works in blah, 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 blah. And, maybe he can take a job. Maybe he can work something out for you. Please send me your CV. If by any chance you don't have your CV available, it will be really bad. So you need to have your CV available. You need to have your CV available. Sorry. You need to have your CV available on your device, on your phone. That's what I mean. It's great to have it on your laptop, have it on your phone. So put it in your Google Drive, save it on your phone as a document, save it in Word and PDF format, so that you can always edit whenever you want. I have MS Word installed on my phone, so I can actually edit documents on my phone. So things like that. Even if you don't, it's fine. You have it in Word and PDF. You can always edit using Google Docs. And then when they say, oh, share it with me, you share in PDF format, so it's not distorted and everything. And then they can open it. PDF, you can open PDF typically on any device, on a mobile phone, on a laptop, on an iPad, whatever. And then the formatting is going to stay in place. So the text is going to appear the exact same way you created it on Word. But with Word, because there are different versions, if I open a Word document on my phone and I'm not using the Word app, it becomes scattered. So there's that. Okay, then join communities. You need to be present in communities where they share opportunities. Like there are all kinds of, like, Doctors Without Stealth is a community. She's creating a community. Over time, she's probably going to start creating new opportunities. For example, these kinds of seminars or webinars. And you should also share opportunities. So again, make sure it's always an exchange. Don't be a leech, don't be a taker, be a giver as well. Always try to share as much as you receive. It's very important. Then volunteer. This session, for example, is free. This is me volunteering. If I put this one on my CV now and somebody calls Olakunmi and says, oh, do you know Funke? She's going to say she knows me. So while it is free, it's still very valuable to me. So you should volunteer and do it according to your passion. So just do things that you enjoy doing anyway. So if you're somebody that likes, maybe you are interested in sexual health, you're a sexual health enthusiast, you should do a condom drive. People are very reckless when it comes to, reproductive health and sexual health. So do a condom drive, do family planning sessions. Focus on men, because typically when you look at the system, that's where there's a gap. Those are the people who need to learn and understand the value of family planning. And then so you can just focus on couples. Anyway, teach people things like do community outreaches, medical outreach. There are so many young people walking all over the place with high blood pressure and they don't even know. If you go to church, if you are a Muslim, you go to the mosque, a medical outreach, and BP, check their blood sugar, check, those things that nobody is really checking for. Just do all those things, anything that ties into your passion. So it doesn't feel like a chore. It's something that you would enjoy doing. Just volunteer, and then, you can always use it to build your portfolio. Now, down to career paths to explore for medics. Doctors can end up in careers that within and outside, the normal general practice of facing patients and doing, general consultants and all that. In medical field, you can explore public health, you can explore medical aesthetics, wellness and nutrition, and healthcare administration. So if you know that while you're a doctor, you're not really interested in the nasty. So you don't want to see blood, you don't want to treat people who are coughing, at the end of the day, you don't want that work. It's fine. Consider healthcare administration. Maybe somehow you're a doctor, but you're really business savvy. You should get a business degree, maybe an MBA or a healthcare administration degree, and do that. Healthcare administrators can be doctors, they can be medics, it's fine. You can also work in wellness and nutrition. So right now, all the rave is in weight loss, but honestly, doctors need to start being the ones telling people what to do. I'm tired of non-medics telling people to buy slimming tea, and then doctors are just looking. Everybody knows that this thing is unrealistic and this thing is unhealthy, but nobody is coming out to say you shouldn't drink that. It contains too much diuretics for you to be drinking. Don't drink that tea because you're going to maybe be expelling too much waste, more waste, or it has more laxatives that you should consume. Nobody just goes around consuming laxatives, things like that. Wellness and nutrition is a field. People are interested. People are paying. Somebody loses weight today because she cut down on the amount of rice she eats in a week and works out, 5 hours per day or whatever. She has set up groups and is now telling people, when you do this, you're going to lose weight. And people are paying her 10K for a month to share her plan. And then she will share her plan. They would also, follow whatever it is she did. Keto diet, this one, down. She's not a doctor. She doesn't know, the peculiarities of anybody's body or anybody's system. She's also telling people that, what, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what I did. So there are all kinds of disclaimers. Imagine when your disclaimer is, I am a medical doctor. There is a plus there because you have a degree. You can walk around the peculiarities of everybody's body. So, you know what? You have ulcer. So you probably shouldn't cut down on food that much. Maybe this is what you should cut down on. You're diabetic, you should do this. You're asthmatic, don't do that kind of workout. Things like that. So wellness and nutrition is actually a field in the practice that you should explore if you know that you don't want to work in the hospital. And it will pay you a lot of money. It will earn you a lot of money. If you set up a WhatsApp group today and start telling people about diet and blah 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 and charge them 10K, watch how many people are going to join your group. You will probably get 20 people within a week, and that's 200K already for telling people what to eat. How many hospitals are paying that, and how much work do you have to do to earn that money? Consider it. Medical aesthetics, my skin. I struggled with acne for a whole year, and I went to an aesthetic clinic, and then they started recommending products and doing all kinds of treatments on my face. It's clearing up now. I spent a lot of money, and because their certifications are very high end, they are very expensive, that industry is booming. Meanwhile, we actually have dermatologists who were snobbish to the host of us prior to now. And they are still snobbish somehow. They think that is for elite people. No, everybody is buying skincare products now. Everybody is buying vitamin C serum. Before 2018, I didn't know what vitamin C serum was. I didn't know what, exfoliation, chemical exfoliation. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know that I needed to wear sunscreen or that I needed to moisturize my skin very often. I didn't know any of those things. I was in black soap and then I was ruining my skin. So medical aesthetics, it works, especially because the person that I went to, she studied cell biology. So technically she's in the field, right? And then she went to aesthetic school. So it does make sense that she works, as an esthetician. So if you are a doctor and you know that you have interest in beauty, there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's fine. You can have interest in all kinds of things. You can be a makeup artist if you wish. But if you know that you have interest in things like skin and all of that, then you should consider that you don't have to be a dermatologist to be an esthetician, but you can treat skin. There are other parts of, skincare where, even estheticians tell you, oh, please just see a dermatologist. This one is outside of my scope. But this is a field that you should explore because, for one thing, it's blooming and you're going to earn a lot of money. Then public health. Public health is mostly research and non-profits. So if you're interested in things like that, then you should consider public health research, policy making, community development, community service, things like that. You should explore public health. It's very pen and paper and, less patient work. And that's what I'm trying to highlight here, that it doesn't always have to be conventional medical practice. Now, non-medical career paths, social blogging, like I referred to the likes of Dr. Olufemilayo, around maybe 2017, I'm not sure he had up to 10,000 followers. He came out, out of nowhere and started writing threads on medicine and medical tips and things that people started following him. And now he does social blogging, brands pay him to advertise some of their products, very niche. He will do campaigns, he will earn money, it's fine. That's good money. You can do it on the side. You don't have to, primarily do social blogging. You can just do it on the side. It's something to explore, but it's also very important for personal branding. You can consider public speaking as well. So show up at, medical outreaches. Like I said, you can start in your small local communities, in your church, in your school, at your friend's event, small open house events. Start small. As you build your profile, people notice you and people start to reach out to you for public speaking. Meanwhile, you need to also consider career advancement. So try to get fellowships and get advanced degrees so that you can charge even more money for public speaking. If you think that public speaking doesn't earn people money, you should try and Google how much Wole Soyinka or Chimamanda, you should try and Google how much they make from public speaking alone. It's not just book sales. It's by talking. The fact that they are talking to people is earning them money. So you should consider public speaking because, you're a doctor or a pharmacist. You have your career path, your field is very specialized. So you should consider that. Telemedicine is convenient. The great thing about telemedicine is that you can enroll on multiple platforms. You can decide to work with Wella Health and work with Doctora and you can work with as many telemedicine platforms as you want, and all you're doing is consulting. It's just mostly initial first aid. Oh, I cut myself. How do I treat it? Get methylated spirit, blah, blah, blah. You've made money just by interacting with that person for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. They pay, I think they pay per 30 minutes or per hour or whatever, but you're earning money just by talking to these people. So you should sign up on, telemedicine platforms. They need doctors. Consider Doctora. I know of Doctora and I know of Wella Health. Those two you should explore. The medical journalism, doing research and cataloging information. So you find things, or that maybe there's news in the medical space. For example, when COVID hit, there were so many blogs. No, let me not even use COVID. I don't know if you know Mayo Clinic online. When anybody is sick, the first thing we do is Google the symptoms, even though the websites probably start telling us that we maybe have cancer when we actually have malaria. Is somebody writing these things, right? That's part of social blogging. It's just writing, taking your time to outline things. It's also part of medical journalism because they write symptoms, they write treatments, they write trends or spikes, and they actually have research numbers and they write new findings. So recent research reports have stated that this particular ailment, blah, blah, blah. So it's putting information, making information available to people who need it. Medical journalism, sharing new trends, new information. If you owned a website for medical journalism, for example, and when Pfizer created, a vaccine, you were the one who wrote about the vaccine. Even if you don't own a website, let's say you write an article about a vaccine, you can sell your article to news platforms. You can sell it to people in Nigeria are writing for Forbes. They don't live in the US. They don't live in UK and write for Forbes UK. They live in Lagos or in Edo or in Port Harcourt or in Enugu, and they are writing for Time, for New York Times rather, and for Forbes and for all these platforms. These stories, people submit their stories, people sell their stories. So if you're doing medical journalism and you're doing the research work and you're writing and they're able to verify that the information that you have shared is correct, they are going to pay you for that work. So it's something you should consider. So if you're a writer, please consider this. If you're opinionated, you should consider public speaking. If you're not, you can do the back-end work like the medical journalism, the social blogging, telemedicine, or just any other medical path that you can explore. These documents, these career paths that I said you should explore, they don't highlight, I'm not talking about, specialization like becoming an OBGYN or, doing psychiatry or pediatrics or things like that. That's not what I mean. That's basic, that's conventional medicine. Or you're an oncologist, you deal with cancer patients, you do this, you do that. That's normal, specializing within medicine. I'm saying other things, within and sort of outside medicine that you can explore that are not conventional. It's not top of mind. When you think of, your career trajectory, these things, they don't come to you immediately. It's not the first thing that comes to mind. That is what I have outlined here. So just in case, heads up. I'm sorry, I spoke for more than 20 minutes, but now I'm done. So you can ask me anything. I would stop sharing my screen now.
All right, thank you so much, Funke. That was actually I think it was quite a detailed presentation. Thank you very much. Sir, before we go into the question and answer, there is a poll that is just so for the discounts that was supposed to receive, just to get everybody's information. So just select if you would like to get a 15% discount of Cvloft services. So I think the poll should be running now. So everybody should just please try to answer the poll. So as we are doing that, I think the poll will just run through, and as we're doing that, anybody that has a question, please we can ask the question now. I think it would be helpful if we actually talk as opposed to just typing in the chat box. Maybe speak up just to give a good view to this meeting. So if you have any question, you can raise your hand so that I can be a bit orderly and then go on with the questions. Okay, but first of all, okay, I'll just want to ask, so for CV writing now, would you say anything? I don't think you mentioned anything about number of pages per se, because I think sometimes maybe if you have a lot of things to say, you end up wanting to put everything, and then your CV runs into maybe 2 pages or sometimes almost 3. Is there I know people also say that you should have just a 1-pager, but is it a significant disadvantage if you have more than a 1-pager?
Okay, so typically I advise I advise 2 pages max. I don't think that is that much that anybody has to say that cannot fit in 2 pages. Mostly because there are different ways that you can work around information. For example, like I said, when it comes to publications, you can maybe you have written 30 different articles, but just pick maybe top 5 and put the links there. People can always go and read them. All they need is an idea, right? So you don't need to write every single thing. And then there are also other information like references that don't need to be on your CV unless they're specifically asked for. And yeah, so 2 pages. And like I said, with doctors, your your job, especially if you work as a general consultant, you mostly do the same thing in different places, right? So you can repeat them and you don't need to outline 10 different things that you did or that you do or that you have done on your CV. You can list 3 to 5, that's fine. So keep it very short, keep it straight to the point because best reading has max 1 or 2 minutes to look at your CV. So 2 pages, that's why I shared the outline, how you should write the CV. And then I did mention that it should be very concise and straight to the point. And yeah, so I would advise 2 pages. If you have worked for several years, maybe you're one of those, like I have written CVs for maybe people who have worked for 20 years. Sometimes it gets to 3 pages, right? Because there's a lot that they have done over the course of 20 years, but it would never really exceed 3 pages. You can bring it down.
Thank you, Funke. Venga just put, okay, not a question. It said health management is also a career field to explore apart from health administration. Okay, they are 2 separate fields. All right, thank you, Venga. So does anyone have any questions? Because I know the reason why I'm asking this because I know a couple of people have these issues with CV writing and people just, I know sometimes people write CVs and you're just like, oh my God, what exactly did this person write? Or some people actually even have like things that they could have included but somehow overlook. So if nobody's asking any question, I'm assuming that from Funke's presentation, we're able to get the hang of creating a CV for ourselves. I know is that really it? Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Funke, for the presentation. Right. I'm not a doctor, but like you said, I picked a few things, and I'm certainly going to adapt. Um, but how much does Cvloft charge for the um writing review and everything?
Okay, so we charge according to years of experience. So if you have 0 to 3 years of experience, you pay 4,000 naira. If you have between 4 and 6 years, you pay 6,000. If you have between 7 and 10, you pay 10,000 naira. And if you have more than 10 years of experience, you pay 15K. So we have done it that way because we cannot put a blanket rate. Not everybody can afford to pay the same. And then the complexity, the amount of work required on each person's CV is not the same. So that's how much charge. But if you go to www.cvloft.com, I'll put it in the chat box. You would actually see pricing. So you will see pricing at the top of the page. You can click on pricing and see the breakdown for CVs. LinkedIn is 6,000. Cover letter is a flat fee of 4K. And for people who want to go back to school or, are applying for scholarships and things like that, personal statements is 20,000 naira. So that's how much, we charge.
Thank you, Funke. All right. It seems like no one has any questions.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Hi. I enjoyed the session. I enjoyed the Funke didn't really talk about like just landing the job, like getting your CV to land the job. She talked about distinguishing yourself and building a career that like stands out and that's personalized. So for myself, I also want to say thank you in advance for the free CV, like as part of the people who came early. Then I have a question for myself. Can you start a career or like land a job as a gateway into another career in the same industry? Because like ease to enter is easier for the opportunity.
I'll need you to clarify. Can you use an example to describe what you mean?
Okay, so I'm interested in business, particularly like the in-works of business, like how corporations run and make money. However, I didn't like do a degree in business administration, or I don't have so much innate this thing. However, like I'm planning to go to business school, but right now, like I've seen a gap. Like I like to get a job, but I don't have the qualifications too, but like I've realized there's a huge gap in the like economy in terms of digital marketing, and digital marketing is something you can easily learn online. So I feel like if I build my competencies in digital marketing, I could like land a job, like get a good job, distinguish myself there, and like from there like progress into like real marketing, into like a MBA and going to operations.
Okay, so let's start from what did you study?
Okay, I did international relations.
Okay, great. Okay, so the thing with that is yes. I'll explain it this way. When you take any job as an entry point or a placeholder, you need to understand what it translates to over time. So at some point in my life, I had the opportunity to take, a frontline operations job in a bank, maybe customer service, and I didn't take it, even though I really needed a job at that time and the pay would have been great. The reason I didn't take it was because if I had taken it, it would have started to pay me salary. I would have decided that it made more sense to work for maybe a year or two before moving on to something else. But the problem with doing that is when you take that kind of a job and you start looking for a new one in a different field, then everybody is asking, oh, so why do you want to leave customer service? Like, why don't you just go to another bank? Or they start to highlight that you don't have the kind of experience that they need. With digital marketing, I am really not for trying to only do things on your own. I would always advise that you take, an internship or a job with an agency. So marketing agencies have all kinds of internship programs or trainee programs that you should explore. And with international relations, you can also consider PR. So with marketing is really broad. There's traditional, you know what, maybe you should just follow me on Twitter and signify that you are acquiring me from the chat. So I don't distract from here, because if I start talking about, career opportunities in marketing, we'll just go on and distract people from, what the session is about. Yes, but you can I'll DM you, yes, and then we can have a conversation offline.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. Do we have any other questions? All right. So, in the absence of any other, once again, thank you very much, Funke. This was actually a very interesting session. Actually, on some level, felt like I knew a lot about CV writing from like reading and all, but having someone talk about it again just like brought new things to light. As you said, sometimes you think you know something, then you do a course on it and you're like, oh my God, I actually did not know these things. So thank you very much. For those of us who have indicated that we would like the discount, information will be sent to you as regards how you're going to get that following the session, probably like during the week next week. But if you don't get any email or anything, you can always send an email to, I'm going to type the email address in the chat box now. And always send an email or DM on Twitter so that the information or instructions on how to go about getting your discounts can be communicated. And also for those who got the free CV, Anita and Okoyemi, you can also reach out as well. Right. Thank you very much, Funke. It was a really lovely session with you today.
Thank you. Thank you, Lakumi, and thank you everyone for spending your time. I see more people join, so thank you. And I hope you have a great Saturday.
And thank you, everyone. We've come to the end.